any closing statements for today?
Yeah, I actually just wanted to reiterate something with the Pixel 7a. So one, I also want to give them a shout out. I really like the way they did the camera bar, very minimalist, almost flat. That's fantastic. I
Mm,
hope more phones do that going forward. But specifically outside of the North American market, right after the Pixel event or the Google I/O, Sony announced their Xperia 1 Mark 10 and Xperia 1 Mark 5 and Xperia 10 Mark 5. And, you know, when I compare something like the Xperia 10 Mark 5 to the Google Pixel 7a, I'm like, yeah, I'd rather have that device. Not only does it have a headphone jack and a micro SD card slot, they're both 6.1 inches. It has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery as opposed to the 4,300 milliamp hour battery of the Pixel 7a. What it's missing is obviously the Pixel's still going to have, that great camera tech and, the computational photography, but it doesn't have the 90 hertz screen. Um, but it's also like cheaper and just, in my opinion, a cooler option. You don't have to worry about notches. It has bezels. It has good speakers and stuff like that. It just seems like a much better option that's probably not going to come to the North American market, which makes me a little bit sad. But I
the
guess
Sony.
the Sony Xperia. The Xperia 1 will definitely come, but that's like a $1,400 phone. That's a completely different thing. But yeah, and then also, some of the reviews talked about, you know, oh, do you get the Pixel 7a or the Pixel 7? I think it depends on your market. In the United States, it makes sense to get the Pixel 7 because there's only a $100 difference. But in markets like Canada, there's a $200 difference between the two phones. So, and when we talk about the price of the Pixel 7a going up and being out of the budget space, in the States, it isn't that much of a problem right now. At least I hope Google continues to do this. But right now, they're selling the Pixel 6a for $349. And if it was between those three devices, I would say, hey, go pick up the Pixel 6a. It's great cameras, very similar performance, and you're saving so much money for $349. But in
Mm,
Canada, those devices are gone. They're sold out, and there's no indication that they'll ever come back in stock. So who knows? Maybe Google's going to continue selling the older Pixel 6a as their budget phone. If they do, that's fantastic. I'm all on board for that. But
mm.
based on what we're seeing from the Canadian market, it looks like that won't be the case. And maybe they're just getting rid of their current stock and then that device goes away, which to me would be a little bit sad. Um, but yeah, it's the more I look at the 7a, especially in markets outside, well, honestly, in all markets, it just doesn't. It's not. I'm with you. It's not a good choice by Google, in my opinion, to kind of just abandon the budget space. But yeah, hopefully, if they continue to sell the Pixel 6a, that could be an awesome option for people who are looking for a budget phone. Because in a lot of ways, I think the Pixel 6a is a better phone than the Pixel 7a.
Damn, hot take.
Yeah. Well, Ed, final question to you. Which features do you think are more valuable in the phone? Like, do you like, obviously the cameras are great. I think most budget phones can't compete with the Pixel, but something like the 90 hertz screen and the wireless charging, do you think that beats out features like headphone jacks and micro SD card slots? Because I think we have a very different market in North America, where we don't value those things as much as maybe because iPhones don't have those features. So, and that's the phones that most people use. But in Europe, those features are still highly desirable. Do you think, those a phone with headphone jack and micro SD card slot in the North American market could beat out something like a higher refresh rate screen? Or do you think maybe Google just made the right choice here?
It's a good question. I mean, I would say, I don't know. If you're talking about, okay, we keep it at the same price, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a headphone jack and a micro SD card slot, or we raise the price, we take those away, and we give you a 90 hertz screen and wireless charging.
Yeah.
I would say, personally, I would say SD card slot, headphone jack,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if we're talking about which would you rather pay $50 more for? I mean, I would say neither. Just take it all away and give me a cheaper phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's difficult to say, especially in North America, right? Everyone has AirPods or they have,
Yeah.
Beats or they have the Sony accent. Like everyone has already bought into or most people have already bought into the wireless headphone
Mm-hmm.
space, right? Or earbud space. So I personally don't see many people with wired headphones. Um, so I think, and maybe that's just because they don't have an option, but I think we've gone too far, especially as you mentioned, with iPhones being so popular. We've gone too far into the wireless headphone space for the headphone jack to matter.
Yeah.
And even the micro SD card space. Like in North America, that doesn't really matter because most people are on iPhones.
Yeah.
So I think Google, I don't think with the 90 hertz, or I don't think with the wireless charger. I think that was a very stupid point. I think I was just looking it up. The Pixel 7, I believe, goes up to 20 watts wireless charging. I think the 7 Pro has like 23 or 25-watt wireless charging. So the addition of 7.5 wireless charging, it's stupid. Like, yeah. I think the only good thing that they did, as I mentioned, was the 90 hertz.
Hmm.
But I think for the North American market, yeah, that's the way it goes. No more headphone jacks, no more SD card slots. I mean, no more LED notification lights.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they made the right choice for North America.